Yo. Welcome back to another episode of the Middle Eight podcast. I'm Ricardo Williams.
I'm Cherry V.
And I'm Jermaine Riley.
Boom. So we got a lot to talk about. A lot has happened in the last week. A lot of interesting stuff, I guess, which is quite topical for us in our lane to talk about. So we're gonna jump right into it, man. And I'm sure everyone knows now the internet has been buzzing a while around this conversation about R&B. I've got my opinions in terms of we seem to be having this conversation every 2 or 3 months. It seems to be coming back around. But anyway, context to the conversation and why it's loud at the moment is Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, whatever you want to call him, has started a record label called Love Records. He's been seeding it for a while about how he feels about R&B and him contributing to the resurgence or bringing R&B back to life. So his statements is R&B dead, but actually what he's saying is dead, and he's going to help bring it back to life. And so he had a bunch of people jump on his live. Mary J Blige came on, Tank, Summer Walker, Kalani. Anybody else that I missed that jumped on? Jermaine Dupri jumped on. He had it over 2 nights. And a lot of people jumped on and chimed in about the conversation about the state of R&B and is it dead? So it makes sense that we talk about this, even though we've done it a couple of times. It makes sense that we talk about this because, yeah. But let me just tell you how I feel. I'll tell you how I feel, right? I think let's not be fooled what Diddy's doing. Like, some of this is for his own intention. He's got this new label. He's got artists that he's going to want to promote and whatever. So a lot of this is him promoting himself and the label and his artists and the music to come. I think in the doing of that, I think he's gonna rap about it the wrong way, framing it is R&B is dead. When we know, and I think the fans do, the people that consume R&B, like the lovers of R&B has never ever been close to being dead. Like, never ever. Like, that's never been the conversation for people that know and follow that genre. What's happened is the infrastructure that supports the promotion of R&B has dwindled completely. So the blogs, the radio stations, the labels, the journalists, the TV shows, the award shows, all of those things, the live nights, the club nights, all of those things have shifted focus to other genres. And so R&B hasn't had the same level of exposure that it did from, let's say, 70s all the way up to the noughties. And controversially, I'll say the music has got better. I personally think, let me say what I'm saying with my chest. Because the entry now is a lot cheaper and easier to come into the game. I think the standard overall is a bit lower in terms of the entry into R&B. However, we still have and are making amazing music. There are incredible artists that are achieving or holding that standard. I just think because technology has changed. Like back in the day, and this ain't a back in the day versus like now thing, but back in the day, if you wanted to go to the studio, it cost money. If you wanted to buy a mic, and I'm not saying it don't cost money now, but it cost a lot of money to buy a sound card or a mic or to have a studio set up or to go to the studio. Now you can pretty much have your own studio for under £200 in your own house, and be able to upload that straight to all the DSPs, like for a minimal cost £20 a year. So the entry into the game has just allowed a lot more people to come in, which means the quality control. Like if you were serious about what you was doing, you had to either dig into your pocket or someone had to make an investment into you. So it meant that anyone that was coming through the door was at a standard because there's money involved, like there's effort involved. And I think the conversation about R&B being dead is because the entry's lower, so the masses now, it's unequal. There's less talent making noise and getting exposure. I'm not saying that it's got worse, it's actually got better. I think there's incredible R&B artists that are just the entry. And that's my 2 pennies. R&B's never been dead. And I felt like it was very disrespectful, especially, and it was lazy for me. Like I get that he's P. Diddy, but like do your research, man. There's people like in your peripheral that are doing stuff, like Jasmine and her and Kalani, or you mentioned them, Summer, SZA, Kenny Got Soul, Alex Isley, like
Giveon. Jasmine Sullivan.
Right. Do you like the list is like you can literally pull them out. Yeah. Like it's not like we're struggling. It's not like we're out here and someone says, "Oh, name me some decent R&B artists," and you sit there and you're puzzled. We can reel them off.
But the thing is, sorry, no, you finish if you're gone.
Regardless if they're mainstream or not, we can still reel them off. And even then, at a local level, I can reel them off. I can reel them off in the UK.
Yeah,
I mean, and say this man and that girl and this group and that group, and I can do that. So for me, I just think it's generally lazy, and it just feeds into, okay, what the masses are saying is what you guys are classing as what R&B is, when actually there's this whole sea of music and artists and people that are making incredible music, that because the infrastructure isn't there to amplify it, you're ignoring it. But actually, Summer Walker can come to England and sell out. So can her. So can Ari Lennox. So can what's his face with the dreads? Why have I forgotten his name? Anyone. Jermaine, you sold out. Cherry, you sold out. I sold out. Do you know what I mean? Like R&B is alive and well. Like it's not dead. It never has been. I think it's just a lazy.
I don't think I did. Go on.
Yeah, you did. Did you?
It wasn't my event. See, this is how real I am. I'm not gonna let the people think that the gig sold out. The gig didn't sell out. I just shelled it down. But
the room was still packed, though, right?
The room was packed. It wasn't
That's what I'm saying.
I was just headlining the thing.
That's what I'm saying. The room was packed out. So it's not even like it's just the Americans that are coming over and packing out rooms. We're doing it on a national, local level. So for me, I just think the conversation's lazy. I was a little bit disappointed when people like Timberland came on and Diddy asked him about R&B artists and he was a mute. I'm like, I expected more from you.
But that's what I was gonna say.
More from you, because like that's how you came into this game. Do you know what I mean? For R&B, I thought your ears would still be in the streets like that. At least pull out some of the bait ones.
But he did say that he doesn't look at it as like the average listener. He looks at it from a production standpoint. That's why he's like, it has changed because the tempos of this and this is the sonics that people are using now and blah blah blah. So, but he just basically said he had to go outside, which I loved, because that's how I feel sometimes. Yeah. I'm like, as much as I don't appreciate some of the stuff that's being said, how it's said with zero nuance, and it's just open your pum pum, and I'm like, oh, guys, there's clever ways of saying all the things that you want to say, and there's metaphors that can be used and interesting titles and stuff like that. Like, I come from that school, so when I don't see that, I'm like, am I is an expiry date on my view. Do you get me? But I know that I need to go outside and I need to do some Googling and I need to sit on the streaming services and see what playlists are going on, whatever. Go outside essentially to see how it's evolving. And the thing is, when you do that, you do still come across the genuine stuff like the Alex Isis and the Kailanis and stuff like that, who are still staying true to the thing. And the fact that he struggled to say anyone, and he mentioned some obscure chick from Instagram, I was like, bro,
right, yeah,
you're really in the studio every day, isn't
right?
It? Like you're really, you've got your blinders on so much. Because I'm like, you could reel off 5 people, bro.
One,
your brethren.
Just give me one. Just say one.
Yeah, like I'm like Jasmine Sullivan killed the Grammys. Like that achievement for that album, for how R&B it was. I'm like, she should be one of the first people. How hard she's worked to get to what she just done, like
right.
And the album, like, it's mad that it was a struggle for Tim at that point. I was like, brother, you know people, bro. Like
you do, you should
said people you know.
Yeah,
but
right. You could have reached.
Obviously locked in. He's locked into a different thing. But yeah, was you? You can carry on if you wasn't.
Yeah, for me, like I think in COVID when we started this conversation, I was really passionate about it because I'm genuinely passionate about R&B. But I'm tired now. I'm tired of the conversation because I'm tired because now it's becoming disrespectful. It's like now you're ignoring the efforts and
ignoring it
and the talent of a lot of artists. So it's not even like we're talking about there's a few. It's not we're saying, okay, there's a few decent R&B. There are loads. Like I will discover artists literally every week. I will stumble on someone that blows my head away. I'm like, wow. And you've only got X amount of followers, or do you know what I mean? Like, even though those metrics don't matter, to me, I'm still like, wow. Like, it's still out here, like in droves. So to have the conversation over and over again and for it to come from someone so powerful is quite damaging. And I understand the psyche of what he's doing, but I think he could have gone about it a whole different way. He could have structured it in a different way and taken that power and really make a difference. Because again,
can I just say,
gone.
I think this is the first time that it hasn't worked.
Oh, you reckon?
Because how Mary was like, you can't kill it because of this person. You can't, like, she reeled off all the artists. Usher's not having it at all. Like, it's the first time it's kind of backfired and people have seen what you're trying to do. Because obviously, in a landscape where you're saying R&B is dead, and now you've got this artist, you've declared R&B is dead, and you're Diddy, and you've given us Faith Evans and 112 and Total and there's some insanely timeless hits, and you've merged R&B with hip hop with Biggie. Do you get me? Like, you've done all the things, Jodeci. Do you get me? You introduced us to Mary. So from your mouth, it's like, okay, this is in granite. This is solid.
Right.
So now you have an artist and you're saying, I've already said it's dead. This is the new thing. So now it's kind of like tried to make it so, it's like when Diddy, it's like when Tim tried to say Tink is the new Aaliyah. Do you get me?
That was dumb.
It's like, it's not curling all the way over. Bro. Like we can kind of see that that's not the case.
Right.
Shout out to Tink, she's amazing, but even she said on the Breakfast Club the other day that did me a disservice. Because now people are looking at me like I need to be this legend. Like, don't do that. Like, just introduce your artist. Say this is the R&B. You could have introduced her with, said this is the real thing, and then that would have even just been the thing. But to slap everyone in their face who's out here. But you know what? what's mad is that when I first heard him saying that, I understood what he's saying because of technology and singing right now and what it means and dropping to your knees and all that type of mad sentiments, you know, crying and vulnerability and stuff like that. But I wish I was on my computer because I got notes on my phone. But Kehlani was just like, what did she say? Something about vulnerability. I can't remember, but it's still there. It's just, it's like Tim said, when you go outside, you'll see that it's boxed different.
Yeah.
Do you get me? That's I love what Usher was saying. Usher was just like,
Usher went,
my tune come out, my Superstar came out 20 years
like
ago and people still loving it. Like I brought that back and that went viral and all these types of madnesses.
Yeah.
So I don't know what you're talking about. Stop talking like about this because, you know, come see me if you really want to have the conversation, basically, is what Usher's saying. He's not having it. And obviously Diddy's his boy, isn't it? Like that's you know, Can We Get With It and Think of You and that first album, that's how he came in like that. So even he's like, Puff's chatting it, bruv.
And also, I'm sorry, I just want to like address this. I just feel like certain man cannot comprehend that R&B exists without them. Because the fact is, you guys are only hell-bent on artists that you've had a hand in bringing to the forefront. So it's very ego for me. For me, watching, it's very ego. It's very like, it doesn't exist without me. No, I want to bring back real R&B. But hello, bro. Right. It's a lot of you brought out set pace for R&B. No doubt about it. Yeah. And a lot of the artists are killing it right now, all influenced by the artists that you had a hand in bringing out. Right. But it has existed without you. It doesn't mean that you haven't been in the mix that it's not real R&B. There's tons of real R&B out there.
Man,
and the fact that, and if, I'm sorry, but like, can we just address the fact that like you're not artist first? You've done a whole series of reality shows about creating R&B artists. You ridiculed them, you humiliated them, you put them through unnecessary training regimes. All of that stuff. That's not artist first and music first. It was about you.
100%.
And that's always been the underline of his problem. As talented and as innovative and as a visionary as he is, it's always about Diddy.
Yeah, 100.
Why is it always about you? Do you know what I mean? Like, and if you're actually gonna look, if you actually deep it, like if you actually deep it on a level, it's obviously it's a gaslighting statement. It's part of everybody's marketing plan now because it's shock value. Offend, then apologize, then hey, this is how I'm moving forward, whatever. But as you said, Ricardo, I'm just exhausted by the conversation because now that you know that it's a conversation that gets everybody's back up, everybody's using it now. Everybody's using it now. And R&B exists in so many different ways, shapes, forms, languages.
Right.
Now, like...
Right.
It's mad. So I just don't understand how you can, what you're trying to say, and this is what I keep saying, what you're trying to say is you're so hell-bent on nostalgia that you can't look forward. And the thing is, people need to understand is that you keep making a statement about it's not how it used to be. It's not how it was when we were coming up. It's never going to be. Because you were at a different age in your life, you had different priorities, you were living life, you were doing up whatever. Like your mentality is not the same now. So you're not going to relate to the next gen or two generations underneath you the same way. And you got to kind of, and somebody said something so real to me the other day, said to me like, there's very few artists, that can exist and relate to different generations. Very few. Very few. But what you're trying to do is you're trying to eradicate anything that's not part of your come up or your story. This doesn't work like that. And his key statement and one of his biggest quotes is evolve or die.
Yeah.
Bro, evolve.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You know what though? You know what? That's so true, Jerry. But even in Diddy's case, it's not even about evolution anymore because, like we're saying, R&B has evolved and it's still kept its core identity. Do you know what I mean? As in, Usher was. Who was Usher that was saying it? Was it Usher that was saying it? I can't remember. But there's been so many conversations. So many people have dropped gems in terms of where it started. Yeah, Usher was saying it, like where it started from in jazz to where it's gone into its own sort of R&B lane and then created rock and pop and all of these things. Its essence, like what makes it its thing, is still there. Like it hasn't changed.
Yeah, it lives in everything that everything else that you think is prominent. It lives in that, so it can never die because you take out R&B out of those things.
It doesn't exist
those things
anymore.
cannot exist without it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And this is why I'm like, it's not even about evolution because that's a given. It will happen. It will change and morph based on someone's perception of it. Do you know what I mean? When I take in R&B and then when I give it back out, it's instantly different because I'm putting myself into it. So it becomes R&B from my eyes. In the same way, Jerry and Jermaine, Cherry and Jermaine, I'll put you together. Your R&B, Charmaine, your R&B is different because it's coming from you. Like the minute it comes out of you, it's different. It's not the same. But the essence is there. The essence of what it is there. And that's why I'm like, the only thing I was like, maybe you're right, Diddy, is his argument about, and I think Tank articulated quite well, was his argument about autotune.
Real singers. Yeah, that's the only thing I was going to say next. That's the only thing I agreed with.
Go for it, man. Go for
it. Basic level.
Yeah.
Like, and it's funny because I had this conversation the other day. Like, I hear the sonics changing. I'm here for it. I'm here for the songwriting. Songwriting styles changing. I'm here for it. Non-traditional, traditional, not keeping the first verse the same as the second verse. I'm here for those changes. I'm here for the looks. I'm here for the talking about like even deeper personality, sexuality, all that stuff. I'm here for all of that stuff, but I'm not here for excusing the basic talent.
100%. 100%.
That's the only thing.
Right.
I feel like if that's got to do with evolution, I'm not.
Let me die a dinosaur.
I feel like I'm like, you need to at least bring that, whatever style it is. Whatever you like, that needs to be solid. And I'm not even talking about riffing and range and blah blah blah. Like, just be solid, like
sing, man.
Be able to hold a mic, not even hold a mic. Be able to stand in the room and sing a song.
Do something.
And make me feel you. Let me feel you and be on key. That's all.
And I want to do it. I want to do it. I want to. Because that's just a basic part. Because we get all of this new stuff like, oh, why should I have to perform and why should I and that? Because I spend probably a bit too much time on Twitter, and I see a lot of like newbies talking about like not really wanting to do the touring thing, not wanting to do the performing thing, and I'm just like, babe, I don't even know why you're here then. Go do something else or just be like behind the scenes beans. That's fine. But like to say that you're an artist, give us your outlet.
Yeah, it's a different, like Ricardo said at the beginning, technology has allowed people to have the luxury of shelling out project after project. Like I myself, although I'm very well-versed performer and perform regularly and my Wikipedia says is what it is, do you get me, in terms of performance, do you get me? So that goes without saying, but I had the luxury of shelling out 20 odd songs over a period of time, staying in my house. I performed a couple times, but I could pick and choose what events I was going to perform at, and it was like, if doesn't matter if I'm going to, do you know what it is? When events start to be like, why am I performing if my followers ain't going to go up after I leave this stage? You get me? Like when that energy started happening, there's a time I'm just going to stay in my house. This is a lot of effort.
But I'm not even talking about from that point of view. I'm talking about skill.
If you're
going to go to O2 and headline O2 or Indigo or whatever, and you know your followers are going to go up, then you can deliver. I'm talking about the ones that can't deliver without
literally without
that's
technology,
without technology.
And the thing is, but that's what I was gonna say that it's just like the lines are blurred now between those who can perform and don't, to the ones who are using that as a I don't have to and I don't want to, because really and truly they know, just like Usher proved with his Tiny Desk, not everyone can do it and survive at the other side. You know, like Amarion is proof of that. Like the dancing could not save him. So it's just when it gets down to the nitty gritty, there are some things like when Diddy did go into the you know, people need to be really singing. Some people who name 5 singers who can't sing without a computer and stuff like that. Again, he was asking Timberland, so the struggle was there. Do you get me? But there's bare people like Terrell Grice's platform alone shows you like he has content upon content. He's on what season now of it? Do you get me? He done a whole 100K subscribe or million subscriber thing.
Yeah.
Do you get me? Like where we saw artists from all walks, killing live, and God bless Terrell Grass for providing that platform, because it's really showing. It doesn't have to even be people who are killing Billboard. Do you get me? R&B is alive just in his content alone. It's absolutely insane.
And his brethren that he knows.
Right. So it's just like, it really does boil down to, you have a label, you have a project coming out, you have artists that you want to push. I'm saying R&B instead, so I can seem like I'm the life
forward. Yeah, that's it. That's it.
But yeah, like Tank said, the Sonic, obviously the Sonic with autotune and stuff like that.
And it's fine. I think with all the Sonic, do you know what I mean? We're not dogging autotune to say, oh, don't run it in your things. If that's the Sonic, that's what people gravitate to, or that's the way to get the hook, then we use it. Like when we
do you know what? I appreciate when there's a bit of twang on the thing, on the actual recorded version, but when you hear me live, you're like, "Wow, my man actually sounds like that."
My man can sing.
That's when that's the biggest compliment to me.
Same.
If I'm shelling out the and then when I go to do it live.
Same.
When I go to do it live, you're hearing and you're thinking, nah, man
didn't really just
That's it. Do you get me? But like, you know, artists do trap themselves and do a whole bunch of stuff when they haven't done the. What I was gonna say is technology has made it so there's the development of an R&B singer is not the same. Like you said, Cherry, like there's a certain entry level basis that needs to be to exist in this space, and when that's not happening, when you're seeing someone on a playlist, or it's the cool thing to get on a playlist and you're able to pay your money to do that, and you just want to be that person because that person's popping on their Instagram, or whatever, your whole entry is just different. Like you're doing it for a different love. So when the threads start to pop out of the seam, it's very obvious when you can't, you know, command the stage, or you can't when it's time to do a live or anything like that. It's really showing when people ask you about music and the history of it and your growth and your entry in it, you're in and ahhing, and it's just shallow puddles. Do you get me? Yeah, it's very apparent that those who have done the homework and those who have done the development, those who will last.
This is it. That is that's the one hill I will die on. Like when it comes to R&B, is like Cherry says, there has to be an entry level. Like, and if you can't like sing without the aid of technology or tuning, then you can't call yourself R&B. Like there has to be a level of of skill there. Like in the very same way, I cannot call myself a keyboard player if I can't play keys. Like, you know what I mean? If
This
I
is
can't,
the thing.
I can't do it.
Can you play your instrument?
Right.
Can you play your instrument?
Right. It's that simple, isn't it? It's that simple.
And if you're triggered by that, then that means that you can't.
It's that simple.
Yeah,
and we're not
shouldn't
even
be
talking
triggered.
about levels. We're not talking about if you're like a master, or in this camp, people revere you as.
Yeah.
Generally, can you come to the table and deliver what is basic? What is basic requirement for you to be called singer?
Yeah.
If you can't, then you can't enter the arena. You can't.
Everyone wants a free pass though, and everyone wants like, oh, I'm changing the face. So,
and that's what technology has afforded people to do, is get away with madness. And you know what? I'm up for this, and I'll put my money where my mouth is. You know the next challenge I want to see. Drop your dry vocals challenge, and see how many people would just drop their dry vocals.
They
and
won't
be like, cool, this is me. That's a wild challenge, though.
They won't. People won't. And they'll find a way to doctor it so it looks like it's dry.
Of course. So it sounds real, isn't it?
Yeah, like, there's all types of madnesses that you can do.
I would drop my
now.
Technology. I'd feel no way to drop mine. I'm not saying I'm perfect, because some of my dries are not like pitch perfect, but it's not wild.
Real. It's real.
Yeah.
It's just real.
Yeah.
Yeah. Certain ad libs. Hey.
Right. There might be. But auto-tune just.
I thought it was just me.
Certain ad libs have been puckered. But ad libs have been supported.
Oh man.
I'm gonna try.
Oh gosh.
Listen.
But this is the thing. Like, that's why live is live. That's why you need to buy the ticket. That's why when people are like, I've released so many songs, and it's just like when I look in the comment section, it's like, it's a bit too much auto-tune for me. That's your incentive to buy the ticket, so you can see spirits, and so you can know that. I'd love you to be skeptical and then come to the gig and be like, oh, well, he's gonna do. That's what I want you to do. Yeah. Because I'm not. I'm not afraid, I'm not afraid.
Right.
Tell you which part me there.
Right. That's right.
Yeah, but we have to understand that obviously when we do that for some people that sends out a message, innit? That sends out a message that if we do that a lot, or if we do that and like we use that in our music, that means that we're not comfortable with how it sounds without.
Yeah. And
so then that's faith in us. That's to see us live.
Yeah, that's what's been blurred as well. It's like the use of it is now like the use of it is need.
It's need. It's need. It's not even sonic. For some people, like, for a lot of people, for a lot of time, it was actually it's the sonic. I'm just being current in the time and what the industry and what airs are used to now. But for a lot of people, it's literally
what's crazy.
Need.
Yeah. There's a tune, the tune on TGT's album, is it Hurry?
Oh, that's my tune.
Oh.
That one is like, I think that's the one that's bathing in it, right?
In there, day long.
Is that the one?
It might be.
That's probably not it.
Nah, I think it's is it Oh My God? It's Oh My God.
It's Oh My God, yeah.
Yeah. Here it is.
It's so good to
me. Yeah.
It's Oh My God, yeah. But I'm like, I know all these brothers can sing, and I appreciate it.
Even Tank's new album, like, and I think that's why I said
I haven't heard it.
Is in terms of auto-tune, he's dialed it up a lot more than he has in previous years. And I get it, it's the sonic of the time. And so he's just playing the game, like he's just being relevant in the moment. But we all know Tank can sing. So it's like, it's
okay, 10 seconds. What's the album saying? Because I haven't heard it.
Do you know what? As a Tank fan, right? I'm gonna tell you as a Tank fan and as a non-Tank fan. As someone who hasn't followed Tank's history, it's a solid R&B album. It does what it needs to do. It's really good. It pushes the envelope in terms of sort of old new school R&B. There's like this, the evolution. For me, as a Tank fan, 10 albums deep, been following him for years, 10, like every album, even before. So from the Aaliyah times, I think, yeah, and I'm sorry, Tank fans, I think it's a lazy Tank album. Like, I've heard this stuff before, and I get it, it's 10 albums, and 10 albums is a lot to put down. And sometimes in that...
But it's meant to be his last.
I don't think it is. I think that's just marketing. I think that's him saying that. I think he's going to hit us with another one. So I think I've heard some of these songs up before, and they're great. I'm not saying they're not great songs, but I've heard them. So it's not new. It's not like, all right, you've given us something fresh and new. For me as a Tank fan, I think there's an album called Stronger, and he alludes to this, where he's gone completely out of his comfort zone and he's created a brand new sort of Tank sound, and it didn't go down well. And I think from an ego perspective, he hasn't gone back there because it didn't bring him success. So he's just stuck to what he knows well. And he says that in his promo video for the album. He's gone back to his roots, and that's what he's done. And for me, if that was your last album, I just would have expected you to go there, like go and experiment and give us something we don't expect, like grow as an artist. And I think that Stronger situation for him knocked his confidence, and he's never really given us that level of experimentation. He's such a great songwriter, and I just expect a little bit more. And he's too vulgar. He's a 50-year-old man. Tank's a big man, you know, and he's got daughters. I mean, because I've got daughters. I'm like, if I was 50 and I got daughters, the way I'm gonna say things is gonna change.
He's 46, isn't he?
Nah, I'm sure
he's 46.
Is he 46?
Oh, I think it's 46. Yeah, I looked the other day because the reason why I looked is because I saw some genuine footage and I need to know how old he was.
We're not talking about genuine. He needs to stop. Genuine needs to stop doing live shows.
Then I googled
how old
something just to see the spectrum of what's going on out there.
I think he's too old to be that vulgar, and it's all good. Everyone has their artistic right to say and be whatever they want to be. Just for me personally, I just think he's a bigger man. He's a really good songwriter. He could find better ways to talk about punani and sex.
But this is what I'm saying. Where's the poetry? And I feel like what's happened is hip hop has definitely influenced
100
the how people deliver the words.
100.
You know, and someone like Chris Brown who swims back and forth very freely, has brought that vulgarity to his lyricism, and now it's like people feel like they just need to be blatant and like, let me just say what it is. Like, but the whole I personally love when I hear a song and then I'll have to listen again, and I'm like, if the song's banging as a basis, right? Then I listen again, I'm like, that's what my man's singing about. That. Where's the nuance? Where's the poetry? Where's the subliminals? Where's the cleverness? Where's the smarts in it?
And he's done it before, and he's done it before, like, and he alludes to
even
it
that.
Again, so I'm like,
was TGT after Stronger?
Yes. No, it was before.
Yes. Are you sure?
It was after. It was after, actually. It was after. Yeah, it was after. It was after.
Because there's no excuse if that's the case. Because TGT as an R&B album,
one of the best. One of the best.
I don't skip nothing.
Me too, hands down. It's one of the best. One of the best.
But I feel like he did say that, you know, what Tyrese was involved in it, and Tyrese don't play when it comes to sequencing and getting writers to write the things, and to get me having. So maybe the lack of Tyrese.
I don't know, because he
still
very goes there. Like in some songs, like he's still. I can pull out songs on projects like he.
Sorry. Before you say that, that's no disrespect to Tank, because I've literally rinsed certain Tank albums. But what I'm saying is, when I listen to TGT, that is Tank at his absolute best. Yeah. And it's probably because there's people in the room saying, brother. Or you, like, when you're, like, I myself, I've done some of my best singing when I was in Fundamental, because it's just like when you have your boys there, or feature-wise, I do some of my best singing when I'm on a feature, because it's like, it's something about the presence of other people pushes you more. Do you get me? So I feel like it's very, if anyone wants to listen to TGT, you'll hear that, wow, why isn't the song Tank singing like this? Like, and the songs are like this, like, nuanced and just at the core. When we talk about R&B, the R&B that Diddy's referring to, TGT is that's fully it, like, dripping in it.
Yeah, 100.
So what everything like that's kind of fallen at Tank's done after that. It's obviously not a Tank review fucking podcast. But
it's not.
I'm saying, I'm just saying that there's a sentiment that I understand what Diddy's talking about, but it's very muddied with with the agenda of it all and the lack of research.
Agreed.
I'll say that.
Agreed. I guess to wrap it up, we're not going to talk about this no more, because
we definitely will. We definitely will.
Some idiot's gonna say something soon on Twitter.
And we're R&B podcast. We're gonna touch upon.
Someone's gonna say, but the argument's redundant, guys. Literally, just open up your Spotify or Apple Music and type in R&B and bask in the amazingness of some of the artists that you're gonna discover. Like, it might bask in it. It might take just a little bit more time because it doesn't have the platform, but they're there. And then to the platforms, to the record labels, to the DJs, radio stations, live events, all of the infrastructure. If you love it, stop being in the comments and complaining and do something about it. Promote R&B artists. Invite them down to your radio shows. Open their emails when they send you their songs. Play their songs on the radio. Big them up. Do you know what I mean? Like, use your platforms to change the things that you hate, instead of just being in the comments and chatting, because I can see it. And obviously it's not a podcast to call out people, but I see it. I see, like, certain people in the industry chatting about R&B, and I'm like, bro, but you're not doing anything. So don't be in the comments talking when you've got certain powers and, like, things that you can do, and you're just here chatting. Make a difference then. Don't be in the comments, because I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. So
that's what I wanted to, in regards to the Diddy thing. It's like, obviously you've been away, bro. You've been focused on Ciroc. Do you get me? If you were here, then maybe, do you get me? Like, what you been doing? Revolt? What? Come back then. Do the thing that you miss. That's like not being in the game, but like just being on the bench. You put yourself on the bench and then you're complaining there's no one scoring.
This is it.
But also, people are scoring.
People are scoring. The game, you're winning, essentially. But you're like, nah, because you ain't playing, or you ain't been played, or the coach ain't put you in, or you ain't put yourself in, or you're like, you know what, I'm done with the game for a bit. But people have been out here shooting swishes, bruv. Do you get me? Buckets.
All day. Listen, we're going to leave that there, because we could talk about this forever.
Yeah.
But you know what is another thing that's been wild? And I'm not sure if you, man, have watched it. The girlfriend that didn't exist.